Hello and welcome to yet another video on the Garage of Luke channel. And I've bought the best French hatchback ever made. Yes, that is right. After 2 years without one, I have bought another Mark I Renault Twingo, a car that I genuinely believe may well be the best French hatchback ever made. These cars are fantastic. If you've watched the channel actually from when I was making random videos that were unedited years ago, you'll remember me doing a video on my bright yellow Mark I Twingo, a car that I absolutely adored. I loved it. I'd always when I was on holiday with family, when I was really young, I used to spot Mark I Twingos when I was in France or, anywhere in Europe really. And I used to count how many that I would see because I just thought they were brilliant. I thought they had such a cute face and I loved them. And I used to count hundreds of them over the course of a 2-week holiday. Then they became the internet's favorite meme car. People started to adore them. And I got in just before that happened. In 2019, I bought myself a bright yellow Mark I Phase 1 Twingo, which meant it had the eggy headlights. Well, it was meant to, it didn't actually have those. And it was bright yellow and it had plastic bumpers and it was brilliant. Oh, I was chuffed to bits when I bought it because it was just an awesome car to own. People used to love seeing it. No matter what age people were, they would come and talk to me about it. Older people would come and say, oh, I hired one of these when I was in France in 1997. And young people would go, oh my God, look, it's the car off of the internet. And also people would hit each other because it was bright yellow. So it would be yellow car, boof. So that was always quite funny to see. I basically drove around in a mobile physical abuse unit. But as you might notice, this one is not yellow. It is in fact black in colour, which is a bit of a disappointment. This car in particular, currently presenting with its German number plates, has one hell of a story. In fact, every car hides some sort of story, and that's where today's sponsor, CarVertical, comes in. CarVertical is a comprehensive vehicle history checking tool that can uncover the potential story that your car or a car you're buying may well be hiding, and can help you avoid making a potentially costly error by paying too much for a car that may have been scrapped, written off, stolen, or even have history of mileage rollbacks. For example, I'm currently looking at a report for this Volkswagen Polo, and if I scroll down, I can see that it's not been used commercially, there's no history of mileage rollbacks, and the financial registration and legal status are all in the green. Also, it's not been thieved by thieves, so that's probably good as well. However, I can see that there's a yellow marker for damage that requires attention. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to see if CarVertical can show me what's happened to this car. After a little bit of scrolling down, I can see some photos of when this car was up for sale in fact, December of 2021. And it looks lovely. What a pretty little car. However, if I scroll up a little bit, I can see that in October of 2010, this car had had somewhat of an incident because it's got damage all down the side of it, it's got damage onto the rear bumper, and the curtain airbags have deployed. That would have been a costly fix, and if I scroll down a little bit further, I can actually find that it is in fact a Category S write-off. That is not something that you'd want to buy thinking it was a clean car. So don't delay and don't make a potentially costly error. Use code Luke to get 20% off your next CarVertical report, or find the link in the description of this video. Thank you very much, CarVertical. Now, on the subject of stories, this car's story isn't quite so hidden. I've already drawn attention to this German number plate, PBPB384. That means it was registered in Paderborn in Germany, or that's where the car was being kept at the time that that plate was on it. Now, that might just look like a normal German plate to most of you. However, we're going to pop a photo on the screen right now of a Twingo that I previously owned, because I've actually had 3. I had another black Mark I Twingo, which had the registration PBPB385. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, what a coincidence. 2 cars with very similar registration plates. The coincidences, however, get a little bit more acute in their design, because not only did it only have a number plate that was 1 digit different, both of the Renault Twingos, this one here that I bought off my friend Will a few months ago now, admittedly, and my previous black one that I registered and then sold, were owned by the same lady in Paderborn. For GDPR reasons, obviously, I won't tell you what her name was. The reason I know that is because in my old car, PBPB385, I had the service book and some invoices for PBPB384, which, I mean, Just, would you believe that? 2 cars from Germany ended up being owned by me and a friend, or a friend and I should say, and now I've owned both of them and currently own one of them. The best thing is, the other car is currently living about 10 minutes from where I live because the chap I sold it to drinks in my local pub. It doesn't get much better of a story than that. This car, I believe, came over because an English gentleman who was serving bought it and then brought it back to the UK. Whereas her other one was a later car that she just drove over when she moved to the UK. I mean, you just couldn't write it. You could not make this up. Now, story aside, this car, I need to go into a little bit why I genuinely, and this isn't just clickbait, this isn't just, oh, Luke saying it's the best French hatchback ever made. I genuinely believe it is. Not just because I love it, but because it has some very cool features, which I shall show you. So, starting off with the interior of the car. Now, first and foremost, as has been touched on many times, I am tall and wide as a human. And in here, I have quite a lot of room. This is a bit different to the first Twingo I had because the first one was ever such a low spec. It had exercise windows, exercise steering, no air conditioning, whereas this is a Twingo Initiale, which means it's got these kind of leatherish chairs. I imagine that is genuine leather, and I would not disbelieve Renault. It's got this very faded kind of dirty steering wheel that I probably need to do something about because that's quite minging and it makes your hands kind of feel horrible. But it has air conditioning, it has a Bluetooth stereo fitted. I didn't fit that, but luckily it is fitted. And it's got more speakers than my last one had, so the sound system is good, but the headroom's good. I mean, I've got loads of room. And it's even got leather on the door cards. This is a high specification vehicle. You're probably thinking all of these things don't really make it quite that special. I mean, realistically, it's just a nice spec level. Well, the Twingo's party piece comes in when you get towards the back of the car. Watch this. So, I'm going to open the boot of my Twingo, and in here, there's not a lot of boot space. There is a surprising amount of rear legroom though, because my seat's all the way back and there's quite a length between the back seats and the front seats, which is very good for a car of this size, but that has come at a sacrifice to the boot room. However, there's a handle down there, which if I pull, allows you to move the entire rear bench forward on sliders and lock it into place, so you can have a large boot. That is fantastic and a feature that I feel is missed in a lot of cars. But wait, there's more. Oh, just you wait, the party piece is yet to come. For the pièce de résistance, I'm going to slide them back. And now, if you come round and shoot through the boot, Addison, I'm going to remove, which takes but a moment, so I get them up there, and then I pull that, and in theory, come on, just with a small amount of wiggling. Oh yeah. Wow, these are very long. There we go. Oh, bother. Pop out the headrest, and then I shall simply pop out the other side as well. There we go. And then I'm going to draw these seats forward slightly. So what I'll do to make this easier to see is I shall open the passenger door where I shall maneuver myself round, and moving that, I will pull this seat, come on, there we go, forwards. And then recline it backwards as far as it will go, like so. And then I shall do exactly the same with this side. Can you see where this is going? So this side seat, forwards, and just use that one to recline all the way back. There we go. And it locks in there. And then round the back, all I have to do is reach over, activate these pulls, like so. There we go. And then simply pull these ones out as well, like that, and just stow them in the boot. And find somewhere for these, probably a footwell somewhere. And if you have a look in there, you'll see what I've created, which I shall now demonstrate. Because what this car has, and there is no other way of saying this, is... Oh, just, yep. Oh, a lie-through bed. And it's so easy to put up, don't you know? But no time for napping, we've got work to do. Right, nap completed, who needs a Skoda Vago after all? And now, you're probably wondering how I'm driving it with the German plates on the car. Well, I shall explain in a moment once we're driving, but it's about to throw it down, so I think I need to leave. Off we pop, just immobiliser. Yeah. There we go. God, they knew what they were doing, the French. Oh. Allons-y. We are in a hurry because I am taking this car for an MOT and it's booked in approximately 15 minutes and I'm about 15 minutes away. That is how I'm allowed to drive this on its German plates because it's not yet registered in the UK. You're allowed to drive it for its MOT, get it MOT'd and then get it back, and then I just have to register it, which depending on how the DVLA see fit, it could take 4 weeks, could take 4 months, who knows. But I'm going to savour this moment because I'm currently legally allowed to drive my Twingo, and it is brilliant. So my old one was a 1.2 litre and it used the old Cléon Font engine, which basically meant it was a pushrod 1149cc or something thereabouts. It didn't really have much power. The torque production was quite nice, but yeah, it was about 53 horsepower and it had done 200,000 miles. This is a 1.2 16 valve, which means it's got 75 horsepower, and that's a lot for a car that weighs quite a chunk under a ton. It's got a nice gearbox, the steering feels nice. It admittedly is quite pleasant having power steering because my old one didn't have that. And it's just, oh, it's great fun to drive. These are brilliant. There's just this kind of floppiness about it, but it's a reassuring floppiness, which sounds a bit counterintuitive, but it's very forgiving. And my old one, I ended up putting it on coilovers. We'll find a photo of that as well. And when I did that, it turned it into an absolute go-kart. No power, however, it relied on momentum and you could drive it very quickly, obviously within the laws of the applicable road that you're driving on. But yeah, I mean, about this car, well, it drives well. There's no wheel bearing noises, there's no knocks, the tyres have tread, and I've kind of adjusted the headlights so that they'll pass an MOT, hopefully. So we're going to head there. We're going to see if the car will pass, but oh, I love this. These cars are brilliant. They are just the joy of driving, kind of condensed into a small hatchback. They're practical. This one's nippy, to be fair. The 75 horsepower does work well, and it's really good on fuel. There's a little rattle from the dashboard, but my old one did that as well, and I just wedged a folded up business card down the front of the dash, which fixed it perfectly. So, a rattle isn't an MOT failure. We'll take it there, and fingers crossed it shall pass. And then all I've got to do is drive it home and send off some paperwork, and we can get cracking with Project Twingo. Let's go. However, before that, did just have to make one quick pit stop. Let's get an MOT. Let's put that light there. Oh. Oh. Fingers crossed. Oh. Be helpful if I had it the right way up. MOT test certificate, pass. Track rod ends, slight play, but apart from that, this car is fantastic. To be honest, I expected nothing less. It drives very well. It's a good car. These have never really let me down in the past, except for my first one, because I haven't really been through why I don't have that first yellow Twingo anymore. It's because the floor fell out of it, but luckily, these are galvanised, so no risk or less risk of the floor falling out. This is, however, a little bit bittersweet because Now that I've got the MOT passed, I'm going to drive it home and then I can't drive it again until the DVLA pull their fingers out and register the car. So I'm hoping that that's not going to take too long. And in the meantime, well, I'll sort out those track rod ends so that I know it's perfect. And to be honest, what else? Well, I mentioned earlier about the fact that my yellow one was on coilovers and it drove like a go-kart, and to be honest, I would quite like to do that again. So I think maybe these steel wheels, which are incorrect for the car anyway, might need to go because they're a bit tired. I think some wheels, some tyres, maybe some coilovers, and I'd really like one day to change the colour of the car. But for the moment, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. There's a lot of cars I've got that require paintwork. I'm just going to get it sorted and enjoy it once it's registered. I hope that you're looking forward to seeing more of this little Mark I Twingo, because I certainly love it and I really hope that you do too. I shall catch you next time. I've been Luke, thank you for watching. Right. Meet me.